I'll try and just talk loud. But we are so excited to have you all here today because this is exactly why we designed this space, so that we could bring together people here to talk about things that matter. And we are especially excited to host this particular event because last fall, one of our board members, Tracy Serto, who is here tonight somewhere, there, yes, let us know that she would be participating in a panel held by the Grapevine Collective, who you'll hear more about what is Pittsburgh's brand. And so my colleague Matt, that you just saw, and I decided to go, not just because we wanted to support Tracy, but because if you know Tracy, wherever she is, something interesting and exciting happens. And that was very much the case that night. What we knew was that it would be fun, but what we didn't expect is to see the way in which a different sector, not the nonprofit sector, not the philanthropic sector, but a creative and vibrant sector could step into civic engagement. And the conversation there that night was really nothing about marketing. It was about having honest conversations about all the things that there are to celebrate about Pittsburgh, the things that we're doing really, really well, like our people and our resilience and our neighborhoods and our wild commitment and loyalty to our city. But it was also a conversation about what we don't do well. And that sometimes perhaps is even more important because I don't think cities can improve unless you can talk really honestly about what needs to change. And so there was also conversation that night about where our gaps are, about the stories that we still tell ourselves that really aren't true, and about the many different ways that different communities and different people experience the same city. So it was a really interesting and rich discussion, and I am excited that you are all here for round two. And with that, I am going to hand it to Pete, who's going to talk a little bit about Grapevine and what you're about to experience tonight. But welcome to our space, and we're so happy to have you.
Thanks, Jamie. Good evening, everyone, and a big round of applause for the Pittsburgh Foundation for having us here tonight. What a wonderful story. It's not about me, but it's about Grapevine Collective, and I'll tell you a little bit about that and why we're all here. Grapevine Collective started during the pandemic with 4 like-minded agencies, small businesses here in Pittsburgh in the creative space that realized that the connections that we all had with each other in the creative design space were fractured, right? And we got together and said, we need to recreate and find these connective tissues that are so important to us that help us do our work and help us connect to Pittsburgh. So we started out and had these informal discussions about our business, the challenges we were facing. We started bringing students and professors from the academic community to connect, right? And to learn about the design work we're doing, to make connections with us, talk about topics that are near and dear, AI, right? All those kinds of things. And the excitement in the room when these kids would show up and talk about design and creative and communications and web development was fascinating. They loved being in a room together and talking. The teachers loved us bringing people together. So then about a year ago, we said, hey, let's extend this beyond the student and academic community. Okay, what are we going to do? Let's talk about Pittsburgh. So we opened it up, and we had that panel last year at LO 26 that was fascinating. And there was a lot of buzz and interest about Pittsburgh topic, as Ben mentioned. So after the event at LO 26, we were approached and said, hey, let's do this again. Like, what are we going to do? I said, well, let's dig a little deeper into these key topics. So for us, Grapevine, we don't know what's next, right? We're here just to bring people together. We care about Pittsburgh. We care about connecting people. We care about the work we do, and we want Pittsburgh to be a place that thrives. So if this is a conversation that helps move Pittsburgh forward, we're grateful for that. We're grateful for coming tonight. So introduce Megan Harris, who's going to run this event. She's in charge. So thanks, everybody. Megan Harris from Pittsburgh City Cast. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Can you all hear me? Chuck Holmes here? Yes. Thanks, Carol. I'm going to channel my inner influencer here. We've got a microphone so we can be a little bit more mobile. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Megan Harris. I'm a journalist and media strategist here in town. I did not grow up here, like a lot of you probably. I came here for a job some years ago and hopefully, like a lot of you too, I immediately fell very hard for the city of Pittsburgh. I grew up in West Tennessee, a very rural area, but one of the things that I always loved so much about growing up in kind of the Memphis orbit was how gritty it was, how blue collar its identity felt, and how the lessons of its past so directly influenced its challenges that it was experiencing when I was there. I started my career as a crime reporter. Today I'm very lucky that I get to spend my days as the host of CityCast Pittsburgh, helping people make sense of the city that they live in, this adopted hometown for many of us. If you are new to CityCast Pittsburgh, we publish a daily newsletter and podcast. It is completely free, where we try to help you make sense of things, find a new friend, have a good lunch, and hopefully figure out more about the region. It's a great privilege to be able to do that alongside some of my colleagues that are here in Marin today. We're a tiny team. We live here. We are literally your neighbors. And we enjoy being able to have conversations like this, which is why it was truly a privilege to be approached by Grapevine and the Pittsburgh Foundation to be a part of this, because this question, what is Pittsburgh's brand, is a conversation we have had directly amongst ourselves, into a microphone out in the world. When we talked to the Allegheny Conference about this last year, the question, it was agreed upon, yes, Pittsburgh does have a brand, but it also might be a bit confused. And it depends on who you ask, right? But there's a lot in play here. Sometimes I wonder whether we mistake survival for success and how that plays into where we see ourselves today. I heard someone once say that, do we confuse nostalgia for identity? And I think that's probably pretty fair. There's no wrong answers here, and part of the game tonight, literally the game that so many of our wonderful participants here have decided to play along with us, is to talk about it, to hopefully get a little bit messy in that, to have a little bit more real talk. This is not your traditional panel, as clearly see here. There's no wrong answers, but we want the audience to participate. If you hear something and you agree with it, you can make that known. You can say, yes, saw someone practicing their amen in the back earlier, so bring it on. If you completely disagree, they're going to be able to see you shake your head, say no, stomp your feet. We want this to be somewhat interactive. And there's also going to be a place at the end for you to voice your affirmation, your displeasure. So if you've got a feeling like that, hold it deep in your heart, because there's going to be a spot for that later on too. So let's talk about the actual format of the game. This is first and foremost a debate. Everyone here is such a good sport. I'm so proud of all of you. Some of you are already shaking your heads at me. We're going to help them, right? If anyone gets up here and just starts to shake or look terrified, you shout it out, like help them make their case, okay? We have all of our participants here in the front row. They're all so talented. Everyone give a little wave. Let's a round of applause for everyone. I appreciate those of you that clap for yourselves. Each one here has seen the themes. They are aware of the idea of what we're doing here, but they don't know what order it's coming in. That has been randomized, and they also don't know which side they're going to be speaking to. So if they're sitting here, they know it'll be one of 5 things, and they know they might have to say why they agree with this statement. They might also have to say why this statement is wrong. And they may or may not actually agree with that personally. So we're going to be nice to them. Many people that are about to come up here will have to play devil's advocate. And if you want to, I'm speaking directly to our panelists here now, if you want to say, I don't agree with anything I'm about to say, but hear me out, you can do that. That's fine. I heard someone say that they brought a prop. I believe several of you have notes and note cards. I admire the spirit of that. I'm going to be curious if you could actually use it in the gameplay. So to find out what we're going to be talking about here, we have our speakers. So we're going to draw out of a hat, anointed here by Franco Harris. We will have one speaker selected for the pro to speak in the affirmative. We will have one speaker here, gesturing in the right direction. Thank you, wrong one. We will have one speaker here to speak in the con, so the dissent. Thank you. Yeah, like that. These two will join me on stage, and then we will reveal the theme that we are going to discuss. In real time, they will find out what they're about to speak to, just right along with the rest of us. These themes have been randomized. Once again, these folks don't know the order. Be nice to them. Details on timing. We have 2 minutes each for you to make your statement, then 1 minute each for you to fight it out, and 30 seconds for a closing statement. Everybody got it? Are you ready? You guys ready what you're going to be? Okay. Audience, last one, last time. I encourage your reactions. If I think y'all aren't paying attention, I'm going to tell you and ask you to please join the game. We also have 1 to 2 minutes where you guys are going to be able to share whether you have we'll have a roving microphone that we will literally throw around to get your takes. So we want your feedback, we want everybody to play. And most of all, we want to have a good time. Everyone in this room cares a lot about Pittsburgh and what it can be. So that's the spirit of this game. All right. Everybody ready? Okay. 1 large disclaimer. As soon as we get started here, please keep your phone in your pocket during the debate. We want to be respectful of everyone. Want everyone to be able to speak freely, because sometimes y'all have good jobs. I want y'all to keep them. So take anything you say out of context. We may be able to publish this in full with all of that context later, but that's a discussion for later. I want y'all to be able to have a good time tonight and really speak your truth, your lived experience. Bring whatever examples or data you have. All that said, this is not a booster in that. So, everybody, please be ready to actually speak freely. I know I keep saying it, but really. Okay. No cell phones. I think we're ready. Are we ready? We ready, Grapevine? Keep our helmet down. There's also some sound effects. So first up, Dr. Courtney Williams. And Brian Ridzeski. Everybody want to do a little mic check?
I specifically asked Megan not to call me this event.
I did not cheat, but your name was the first one I saw. Are you ready?
I do. Yeah, great one.
Round 1. Let's see the theme. Mobility. I know, everybody's reading it. So y'all got a clue of it, but I'll repeat it now here for you to speak to. These are the value statements presented by Grapevine. As you're reading this, as you're taking it in, it is aspirational. What you see reflected here may not be exactly the Pittsburgh that you know today, but I think it is one that we would all hope for. Here we go. In Pittsburgh, mobility means access. It's how people reach jobs, schools, care, and each other. A mobile city is an inclusive city. And Pittsburgh is committed to making movement possible for all so that everyone can thrive. So here's your statement. Pro. Con. After the NFL draft, Pittsburgh can handle daily mobility challenges. Our pro speaks first.
Okay, great. I absolutely believe that this city can handle daily mobility challenges. If you just look outside and you see all of these bridges, and even in Grapevine, like what city has a little vehicle that moves you up and down a literal mountain, right? That's huge. We have a really tricky terrain, I'm going to give you that, but we have made a lot of provisions to make sure that people can get in and around town. It's pretty easy. You can see all these highways in the backdrop. They are leading to lots of different areas, lots of different neighborhoods, lots of different boroughs. And our bus system is really unparalleled. I honestly didn't know that the bus system was going to run the way it did during the draft. And I barely saw any traffic. If anything, it was easier for me to get around town that weekend than it was any other weekend. So I really think that the draft taught us a very valuable lesson, which is that if we put our minds to it, we really can move a lot of people very quickly with very little incident around town. The one thing that we do have to make sure we know is that there are various different neighborhoods. Some people who are new here might not know where to go. So I do think we can work on that. But once we get those signages in place and really understand where people want to go and when they need to get there, we can make sure that it happens. I agree with that.
Dr. Williamson, you've got 30 more seconds if you got any more points.
Go Steelers.
And can I get someone from Grapevine back there? Give us some hands up when we're halfway through that 2 minutes. We can just see the timer. All right.
All
Come on.
So, first of all, let's have a round of applause for the Pittsburgh Foundation for making those buses free during the I just saw the numbers. It was something like 300,000 people rode Pittsburgh Rapid Transit during those 3 days. That's almost the entire population of the city in 3 days. That's incredible. But it came at a big cost, right? It came at the cost of making sure thousands of Pittsburgh public school students had to stay home during this event. That had nothing to do with their education. Now imagine being a single parent who has to now take off time from work, or who now has to worry about what their son or daughter is doing that day because we couldn't handle the transit. We have to ship kids downtown. We got to ship them from the hub and spoke system all over the place. We couldn't do it. It came at a cost. Now think of all those other days that aren't. Now I live in Aspen. I can almost see my house from where I'm standing right now. If I were to take Pittsburgh Rapid Transit to my job downtown, I would have to take a 45-minute bus to Millvale to drop off my kids. Now the bus doesn't go to my kids' daycare, so I'd have to push a stroller with 2 kids up an incline that's just short of 90 degrees to the top of the hill, drop my kids off. Now I have a stroller that I have to bring to work. I had to go back down the hill, get another almost hour-long bus to get to my office downtown. That is a typical day, and that's for somebody who lives, frankly, in a privileged neighborhood, a high transit and a high walk square. We have a lot of work to do if we're going to make the amazing assets of Pittsburgh accessible and available to everybody. I know that you already know that. I was just doing a bit. Go Steelers. I yield the rest of my time.
On our countdown here. I didn't expect this much Steelers talk on mobility, I'm going to be honest. We did mention the draft. It's our fault. All right, time for rebuttal.
Yeah, so I think that the part of mobility that we have to look at is figuring out where you're living and where you're working. So I think that it's pretty common for people to try to map out where they're working, where they're living, their daycare, etc., to make it easier. Because even if we didn't have public transportation, you still have to get into a vehicle. You know, we have really bad winters, especially this past winter, so even if you had a vehicle, that made it tricky. So I think that one of the things that I would double down on is making sure that everyone understands the neighborhoods, the layout of the city, and figuring out, okay, where do you need to be to move? Okay.
Dr. Williamson, I can't tell if you're talking in favor or against mobility in that one. Wait, speak to that just a
No, in favor. Like, I think that mobility, a lot of it has to do with where you choose to, stake your flag. So if you have, in your instance, your kids daycare and work, and they're on separate areas, challenging in general, whether you're using public transportation or whether you're using a personal vehicle. So just being mindful of that. And then once you're in a safe space in case you move around, it does make it easier.
All right, are those final points, Ryan?
No, in fact, I know I shouldn't do this. I agree with almost everything you said. Dr. Williamson, everything you said was true. And how many of you have ever heard Pittsburgh called hell we put it up? Right, one of the most famous branding statements of all time. We've been trying to live it down for 170 years. How many of you knew that the writer meant that line as a compliment? A few of you. This writer came to Pittsburgh and was blown away by what he found. He talked about, yes, the grime and the dirt and the exhaust from the mills and how horrible it was. But he also talked about how he could walk to, the end of any random street and see a view unlike any other he'd find in the United States. He was completely enchanted by Pittsburgh, and he was completely disgusted by Pittsburgh. I see a lot of knowing not. Like those of us who've been here long enough can relate. But he said Pittsburgh is not a place that can be boiled down to simplicity. It can't be boiled down to yeses or nos. He said Pittsburgh is a place that has to be studied like science. And so I guess my point is that if we want to capture a brand, we want to capture Pittsburgh, we've got to hold that fanciness and those contradictions. And anything less is to do a disservice, I think, to the science of Pittsburgh.
Last bit, 30 seconds, closing statement. Again, our what we're discussing here is after the NFL draft, Pittsburgh can handle daily mobility challenges. Why do you think that's true?
I think if you know where you're going in the city, whether it's downtown or Aspinwall or Swiftly or Oakland, and you have a very clear plan, you can easily get there with our public transportation. We have various modes and they're clearly labeled. And so if you know where you're going, you'll get there.
I'll say that we should be proud of ourselves for what happened over the draft. There were costs and not everybody benefited for sure, but it proved that Pittsburgh can do great things. And part of doing something great is a robust public transit system. So when you're able, take the bus, take the T, take the kids on the T, see where it takes you, experience something new.
Okay, guys, what do you think? Let's start with the pair of you. Brian, who do you think? Turn this mic off. So Dr. Williamson, what about you?
It's our one. For the record, I do think we need to work on mobility. I did make the disclaimer, we do really need to work. But I had to play my role. But we continue to work on it. There are some serious holes and issues, but I am thankful for the buses that bring people around and that we can. But it's not sustainable for how we live now. So that's fine, officially.
One, you were excellent guinea pigs. I also did you a disservice. Dr. Courtney Williamson is an adjunct professor and entrepreneur in residence at CMU's Sports Center. Also a founder, an inventor, entrepreneurship educator. We're very grateful for you being here today. And Brian Grinzeski here, communications officer for the Grapevine Foundation. Also a brilliant writer and storyteller. Has a book that features the wisdom of Mr. Rogers and also parenthood. So thank you for passing on these lessons to the next gen.
Thank you for being the first ever pet host to pronounce my name correctly. Thank you.
Wait, Mitch. And Jeff Friedman. James Fogarty, of course, the executive director of A+ Schools, who has very kindly joined us tonight. It's a big week for you.
I'm just not going to think about what's happening.
James has worked as a lawyer, successfully ran for office, and in your current role, you've been a fierce advocate for Pittsburgh public students. So thank you. And Jeffrey Friedman is the founder of QBird, Pittsburgh's premier LGBTQ+ news outlet. Has a wonderful events listing, a great podcast, a beautiful newsletter, and it's also Sort of City has Pittsburgh's roommate here in an office downtown as part of the Pittsburgh Media Partnership. Jeff, thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us, right? Give a look through it. This is
Yeah.
a competition, right?
No one, I just need the audience to know, not a single person has been.
Mic's off. Mic is, I don't think I need a mic. You may not, Jeff. I'm not technical.
I can't express to you how often this happens in our actual office.
It really does.
No one wants to win or lose more than Jeff here. So whatever you
Play to
do,
lose.
just come ready to judge, okay? The rules are, you get 2 minutes to speak. Pro goes first. You were speaking in the dissent, okay? Then you get a 1-minute rebuttal. It's a fight with James. And then 30 seconds to make your final points.
All right, bring it.
Want to know what you're
Ready,
talking
James?
about?
I think so. I know. Let's do this. I wasn't really ready for this level of competition. Let's do it.
Okay, let's reveal the theme. Resilience. I know y'all kind of got to peek around there. Pittsburgh is powered by resilience, from steel to startups, from setbacks to comebacks. Our city rises through the determination of its people. Resilience is not just where we've been, it's how we build what comes next. The statement that you will be arguing for and arguing against: Pittsburgh is a comeback city.
All right.
James, take us to school.
As LL Cool J said, don't call it a comeback because we've been here for years. Pittsburgh stays at the forefront of good urban planning, civic pride, and team ethic that has brought us out of multiple generations of setbacks. And so when over 150,000 steel workers lost their job in the early 80s, and steel plant after steel plant after steel plant closed in our region, what did we do? Did we get down on the ground? Did we cry? Did we say there's no way we can move forward? I mean, yes, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people moved away. Yes, yes. But when you look at the counties, if you look at the county's population in 1950, we were a county of 1.4 million. We're a county of 1.2 million. Does that mean more people live out in the orchards that existed in Wexford? Yes. More people are living in those orchards, and now you can buy a home at the orchards at Bowerly up in the northern part of this county. But that's just another proof point of our resilience here in the city. And so what are we today? What are we today? We're a story that was so well told that the NFL said, let's put 800,000 people, the largest number of folks ever to come to a draft, ever in the history of the NFL draft, to prove what a comeback we are. So, as someone who's not from here, someone who grew up in the great city of San Francisco, who's fallen in love with Pittsburgh, and who fell in love with the woman who brought me here. There you are. Also adjunct professor at CMU, also entrepreneur, also amazing colleague, Dr. Courtney Williamson. I'm just very grateful to be here and be part of this comeback story, because I know our schools, which we're talking about tonight at the school board, are going to make a great comeback to this plan that's moving forward.
I feel like I need to tithes now.
Please do. We always use donations.
That's what I tithe. Jeffrey.
Okay. Right? Nice and easy, right? So let's talk about a comeback. Comeback from what? Right? Something negative, right? Okay. So, comeback from what? I grew up here in the city. I grew up in the South Hills, lived in the East Hills. My dad worked in the North. Grew up in the 70s, right? Great sports town, right? That's how our city was defined. You talk to anybody, what's the first thing on their mind? Sports teams, right? How are the Steelers, right? How are the Pirates doing? Don't talk to me about Pirates. In fact, I gave up a 17-year season pass with them because they don't want to win, right? This is not what a comeback city is all about. It's about winning. It's about being the best. It's about being the one at the very, very top. You're absolutely right. Thank you for the point that people are leaving our city. Why are they leaving our city? Bad sports teams, right? Bad sports teams. So if we want to improve the city and we really want to make a comeback, you know that little six ring for six? We need 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yeah! Right? That's the comeback. So my suggestion would be, let's get some winning teams here in Pittsburgh and let's come back. Yeah.
Sell the team, Bob.
Sell the team, Bob.
You have 30 more seconds, I think.
I'm exhausted.
James, your rebuttal.
I mean, look, I'm not going to disagree that it would be better if the Nuttings focused more on the team than on buying a whiskey distillery. But, I'm not mad at the owners of Wiggle for getting paid. But what I will say is, sports or not, the people of this town, people that I meet every day in our schools, people I meet, families that send their kids to neighborhood schools that people say are failing, are doing amazing work to keep their families fed, to keep them raised under extraordinary conditions. We have high poverty, we have 2 Pittsburghs for real, and so I think what often gets overlooked is the resilience in neighborhoods. They're not the ones that are most talked about, but the ones in which our families live, thrive, and support each other every day. So the comeback isn't the big C, but the little C that we see in our neighborhoods from Brighton Heights to the hilltop neighborhoods in Oxford.
Thank you, Marvin. Thank you for that. Another hilltop, right? All right, let's talk comeback. Let's change our name. I'm so tired of being a Pittsburgher, right? When people say stuff with or without cheese, right? So let's be united. Let's do something. I don't know what we're going to call ourselves. But let's call ourselves winners, right? Let's make this city the #1 city. Weren't we voted #1, I don't know how long ago? Is that a memory? Does anyone remember that at all, right? Let's bring that back. You know, maybe there is a comeback. Maybe there is hope for this city. I didn't notice how much that looked like a slide. I want to do it. Anyways, great. I really appreciate this. Megan, you're wonderful. Maybe on your podcast, we can talk about how to make Pittsburgh great again. Oh, that was bad.
You got 15 seconds. You want to try differently?
I'm done yet.
Okay. 30 seconds for a closing statement. James?
Look, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about schools and education for just 1 second, because that's what we're here for. If we want to be a comeback town, we need public schools that work for every child. And they need to be in every single neighborhood in our city. The kids need to have access to the same opportunities regardless of what they look like and how much money their families have. We have 43 school systems in this county. Most of them are smaller than the average size of an American high school. We can do better. We should do better. And so if we really want to be a comeback town, it starts with our children and families. And so I truly believe we can do that here in the city of Pittsburgh.
Again, let's stop thinking of ourselves as losers and let's think of ourselves as winners, right? So let's take this town, let's take the show on the road. This weekend, we can take this on the road, right? What fun that would be. But anyways, love this city. I always say that if people cut me, I bleed black and gold, right? How many times have you heard that? It's the truth here. Always a proud Pittsburgher, always will be a proud Pittsburgher. But anyways, it's a great town. We need another comeback. We need a strong comeback. I know.
Thank you both. Jeff, I'm going to spare you from an audience vote on that one. All right, our next panelist, round 3, Dr. Kirsten Scott. Y'all truly run the gamut. This is the full spectrum of preparedness. We've got one privilege. And this man asked me what the rules were when he walked in.
Can't tell which.
Let's see. Oh, excuse me. Dr. Kirsten Scott is an assistant professor at Pitt's School of Education, also director of the Western Pennsylvania Writing Project, where she works with communities across the region to strengthen teaching and the learning of writing. And Brian is the Vice President of Community at JPMorgan Chase, where he helps cities reimagine equity. And here in Pittsburgh has been such a champion of community building. All right, let's reveal our theme. Design. Pittsburgh believes good design improves everyday life. It's in the way our streets invite connection, our public spaces welcome community, and our policies solve real problems. Design isn't decoration here. It's how we care for the people who call the city home. The statement you will be arguing. It's systems. Systems are easy to navigate. Kirsten, opening statement when you're ready. So, not for
from Pittsburgh, but what really became quickly noticeable to me is that the systems in Pittsburgh are not that much different from American systems. In fact, as a Southerner, being raised in Memphis, Tennessee, I always thought like, oh, I'll move up to the Northeast, top of Appalachia, Northeast. I don't know where we are quite exactly.
It's not supposed to know either.
Because the design of Pittsburgh is that it's its own thing. It kind of exists in the middle of many things. But I was going into this direction that it really is just like other places in America with all of its problems, all of its contradictions, and the systems are very easy to navigate once you figure out the right people. And you need to, it's all about who introduced you to the city, who brings you into spaces, what you then ask yourself to approximate about the city, so moving beyond how you started. So I was hired at Pitt, and once I figured out how to get out of Oakland, everything was fine. And so that really helped. I recently went to the comp plan events over and over again, and no one wanted that to happen, but they should have. And so that was the time that I actually felt like a Pittsburgher, because I learned about all 90 neighborhoods, I talked to people, and then the systems actually became easier because the communities came together. And people talked to each other, and they weren't just kind of in their 3-mile radius. And so once you get out from the way that you came in, you meet the right people, you go into new doors, and you attempt to connect with people and their stories beyond their neighborhoods, then the systems are indeed easier to navigate. And it's not just this insider-outsider experience. In fact, it is connection, people, and possibility.
Yes. Go Steelers.
So, to Dr. Scott, one, thank you so much. Thank you all for putting this together. This is beautiful. The space is beautiful. Can we give a round of applause for this space?
Very good presentation. I got it.
Okay, so from a design perspective, Dr. Scott, I think you had it right, but I think you added 2 comments. I'm a Pittsburgh lifer. Through and through, I went to Liberty Elementary School in Shadyside, Frick, which is now Satech in Oakland. So I kind of got a crash course in Oakland at like 10. Like, you're grown. Imagine walking through Oakland at like 10, 11, 12 years old for French fries, right? Like, we all remember the And then Shenley High School is going to go. Nice, good again. We're not apartments, we're a school. But I do say that to bring up Shenley on purpose, because I tell people all the time all over the country that I knew Pittsburgh's superpower has always been its people. Of course, we could talk about buildings all we want. We could talk about our architectural design. All of that is amazing. But our true architecture is our people, and it always has been. At Shenley High School, I went to school with, I tell people all the time, every type of person I ever met by the time I was like 17 years old. That doesn't happen anymore. I've never seen another place where it was like that. And I believe, right, and this is where I'll go negative, 35 seconds. All right. When we talk about design, we make it so much about the spaces. And it's not about the spaces, but it's about the people that we put into the spaces. What we've done here is an example of our design at work. From my perspective, and I'll dig a little bit deeper into this in my second round. This is Allegheny City at work. Did I catch anybody? The old Allegheny City references? Nobody? Yes? Okay, great. Here we go. We'll come back to that in the second round. But our design, our true design example, and what we really need to focus on, it's how we find ways to bring people together instead of always trying to build things that go into it.
Okay, Dr. Scott. I think you said more of what I said, so you should speak. So, for more positives about our design, some people might say that we're geographically fragmented, and when I first got here, I believed this to be true. I thought that people were kind to me because they let me turn left, and that was the design, that somehow they were just so nice at every stop sign. But the truth was, they're just as confused as we are navigating the city. And so I think that if we could all come together and decide a few things that we want to be collectively, then the design could be experienced more holistically. Are we done with trying to rectify the narrative of eds and meds? Or are we going to work with the eds and meds? Are we going to accept that we have 90 neighborhoods and they're unique and they have beauty in each of them and work with what that means, then we should do that. If we're going to think about the ways that education and industry and all these things can come together to make a beautiful city, then we should do that.
Yes. I think that we should really just focus on our bullet points, right? And we have unbelievable bullet points, right? I don't think very many cities can say that they've saved 500 million lives. I don't, right? I don't think very many cities can say that they've standardized Smash Mouth football at all. We might not have invented Smash Mouth football, but we absolutely standardized it. And then thirdly, I think that we just present such an opportunity for going further, right? And I think that we should be more confident with where we go into the future. I believe that we have a self-esteem problem at times, but I think that we could do a much better job at telling our own story and being proud of it and not shying from it because we don't know where we're located, right? Are we Mid-Atlantic, or are we Midwest, or are we East Coast? Who cares where Pittsburgh? Stop trying to make it something else and make it whatever we can make it and allow it to be who we are. Talk about our facts, talk about our truths, talk about who we are and what we believe.
All right, Dr. Scott, Pittsburgh systems are easy to navigate. Your closing statement, 30 seconds.
Once you're here, you should be here. Design is meant to be revised. Everything that you make can be reimagined. And that once you learn the city, it develops its own kind of internal logic that you don't have to internalize. You should, in fact, externalize it so more people can come in. Neighborhoods are our friends and they can create strong local ecosystems, and that community networks can help people access, what does that say? People help us navigate the systems that may feel difficult within the design.
Pittsburgh systems are hard to navigate because they don't focus on the things that we do best. And you know what we do best? Everything. I had to throw that one in there. No, but we do need an opportunity to tell our story even better for what we've done. We don't need to be bashful about it. We don't need to be shy about it. We're not shy when we're in Acrisure Stadium waving terrible towels that we're together. We're not shy at any other time except for when we have to stand up and compare ourselves to someone else who we know that we have more accomplishments than. I don't know why. I never have. We have 6 rings, nobody else but rings.
I have never experienced civic arrogance, and I say that as a compliment. This city loves itself.
Yeah.
We punch up on its shoulder, but nobody is more proud to be from Pittsburgh than somebody from Lawnox or Washington County or the center of the city. And I love that. I think there's so many things that remind me of home here, in a good and a bad way. But it brought that up for me, so thank you. Yeah. Next round. Ari Lightman. Ari Lightman is the Distinguished Service Professor of Digital Media and Marketing at CMU's Hines College, connecting students and companies to solve real-world tech problems. Thank you for being here. And Armin Sammy is an amazing entrepreneur and founder, in real-life friend, of Dashcam.bike and RC Biz, building safer streets and better elections through technology. Let's see the theme for round 4. Quality of life. Pittsburgh believes quality of life is a public good through investments in housing, mobility, health, safety, and public spaces. We work to ensure every resident can live with dignity, opportunity, and well-being. So the statement that you'll be arguing in favor of: a robust quality of life is achievable for everyone. Here, that's 2 minutes when you're ready. Deep breath. You ready?
Okay, Pittsburgh and quality of life. Massive amounts of investments have been made. When you look at the city associated with being a city of eds and neds, we've done a lot in terms of infrastructure. We've done a lot associated with understanding the plight of various different communities. We've done a tremendous amount of investment in underrepresented minorities and disadvantaged communities. We've looked at a mechanism of bringing up all votes. When you look at just the investment that some of the institutions around UPMC and PHN and Highmark have made, they made tremendous amounts of resource allocations of dollars in understanding quality of life, understanding how we can increase health span as well as lifespan within the regions. When you compare that to a variety of other regions just outside the city, they have made investments in trying to go into those places to increase all votes. When you look at some of the foundations, Jewish Healthcare Foundation being one, which is right up the street here, they've had massive amounts of dollars spent associated with mental health, associated with access to specific, if you look at the centers that we have at CNU around smart mobility, smart centers, it's really geared around how do we have researchers, technology into the community to utilize machine learning and artificial intelligence to make sure that everybody has access to life-saving services, to value-added services, to make sure that they have the best quality of life when you compare us to other cities. Their quality of life and their access to some of the technologies, some of the services is minimal, if you will. It's very difficult to access those sorts of things.
I remain 2 minutes to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think robust quality of life is accessible to some in Pittsburgh. I think everybody here probably has a decent shot at robust quality of life. You talked about machine learning and AI trying to help folks. I am not sure how machine learning and AI will help sweep sidewalks so somebody in a wheelchair can get to the bus stop. In the February snowstorm, you may have heard from some people who were stuck in their house for 2 weeks. Now, I hear from drivers who are upset if they get stuck in their house for 2 days because a street sweeper doesn't come outside their street to sweep. For you, if you're in a wheelchair, it can take weeks because you are relying on your neighbors to sweep their sidewalk all the way down to the bus stop. That is inaccessible, and that is not a robust quality of life for wheelchair users who need to get to the bus stop. We are trying to do better, but I don't know how machine learning or AI will do it. I think we need to enforce existing rules. Homeowners, property owners are required to sweep the sidewalks, but they're not doing it. And so we have a robust quality of life for some. How many people here took something other than their personal vehicle to get here? A bus, walked, biked? Quite a few. We build our roads for drivers with an afterthought for everybody else. We don't build for a multi-layer city. And so if you are unable to drive or can't afford a car, we think about you second. And we have a complete streets policy in Pittsburgh. We just don't respect it well enough to actually advocate for everybody outside of the vehicle. Did you see the billboards that went up in the Strip District? For the, we're ruining the historic Strip District because they're doing traffic calming. There are 19 lanes dedicated to a car parallel to Penn Ave. In parking and driving, there's 19 lanes this side of the river. They wanted to remove one, and they do a right. That's not a quality of life.
Ari, you have 1 minute.
So I agree with you. Pittsburgh has been built for vehicular traffic. That's what we have, but there's phenomenal levels of efforts associated with reconverting things to bike lanes and trying to understand traffic patterns. Where I live in Squirrel Hill, Beechwood has been converted to largely bike paths. So that's one thing. The idea of communities, helping communities out is something unique to Pittsburgh, which is fantastic. In my, once again, in my town or my area in Squirrel Hill, I help out my neighbors. We have a community-based collective that helps each other out. We actually establish salt boxes. So yes, the city might be woefully unprepared for these types of efforts, but community and civic engagement, utilizing our higher ed institutions associated with understanding maybe predictive analytics and a variety of other things, help us sort of allocate our resources in the best fashion possible, given the infrastructure that we have available to us.
But before I say this, whoever did the sound design on these is phenomenal. Okay, you said Pittsburgh is built for cars. I would love to respond to that because Pittsburgh was built before cars were around. If you look at a map of Pittsburgh in the 50s, the streetcar network is phenomenal. Every major street here has a streetcar on it. And if you look under our streets today, in Baker and Roadwood, you can see the remnants of where the car industry has killed the streetcars. So it was not built for cars. It has been converted for cars, stolen from the rest of us by the car industry, and we are slowly making it back, but not fast enough. You said Beechwood has a bike lane. There are many bike lanes throughout the city. They are disconnected. When I first moved here, Google Maps is what I relied on to get around. Google Maps doesn't know where to take me. I started biking on Highway 8 because Google Maps said that was a bike lane. I got honked at by every driver, rightfully so, because that is terrifying. I'm going 80 miles an hour right behind you. So we need more bike lanes. It was a disconnected district.
This is about quality of life, but it's also about mobility. A robust quality of life is achievable for everybody. Your closing statement, why that's true.
So I think it's achievable because of the will of the people and the strength of the institutions that we have here. And the desire associated with how to attract people here. My students come to here will stay in Pittsburgh if they have a good access to jobs, good quality of life, good health care, those sorts of things. We have to make that decision, and we will.
Arvine, your final 30, why a robust quality of life is not achievable for everyone.
A robust quality of life should be achievable. It's not today. That doesn't mean we won't get there. That doesn't mean we're not making progress. It means today we do not have a robust quality of life. I'll give one final story about mobility. Waiting for the 28X at the airport. If you cannot afford to take an Uber to a second airport, I have been waiting in the snow for over 2 hours because the app tells me that the bus is 20 minutes away. I wait 40 minutes. It says just wait another 10. I am stuck there waiting. Everybody who flies in says screw this, takes an Uber home. I am stuck there waiting with all the airport employees. Those are our neighbors. They are waiting with me, and I waited with them. It sucks. Yeah.
Shake hands. Yeah. Running away as fast as you can. All right, Pete, who has great with lust? Ellen McDevitt. And Jocelyn Lott. Ellen McDevitt is the programs director at Ascender, using her many years of brand and startup experience to help grow and sustain Pittsburgh entrepreneurs. And Jocelyn is the global head of communications content at Duolingo, one of the brilliant minds that's helped make the brand both globally famous and notoriously coveted by tech talent around the world. Round 5, our final round, final main round. The theme is welcoming. Pittsburgh is a city that makes newcomers feel at home. Whether you are visiting for a weekend or relocating, You'll find warm hellos, helpful locals, and neighborhoods and friend groups that will invite you in. Our hospitality isn't staged, it is a part of who we are. The statement you will be arguing, Ellen, you for, Jocelyn, you against. Pittsburgh is welcoming to newcomers. Ellen, 2 minutes when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Pittsburgh is welcoming to newcomers. So, I believe that to be true for myriad reasons. I like to call this the "Do you know Marge from Blahnox" effect. Meaning that in Pittsburgh, I think most of us maybe even discovered it tonight, there's not 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, there's 1 degree of Marge from Blahnox. Meaning that all of us know someone who knows you, right? And so you can build this automatic comfort and community because you feel that even though the region is big and diverse and so many hills and so many rivers and so many tunnels, it becomes smaller and cozier because you're like, oh, I can have a community here because boom, right away, someone knows someone who knows you. And that's whether you're visiting, you can play that game, whether you've grown up here, or whether you have boomerang back here 3 or 4 times like I have. It happens every time. And the cool thing too is when you boomerang back several times, that maybe was 3 degrees, 2 degrees, it becomes that 1 degree to 0 degree. I didn't know I was going to know as many people as I do in this audience, but I do. And it reinforces that welcome feeling, that feeling that you're always home. It was one thing we paid a lot of attention to at the airport when I worked there. The notion that people felt they were home when they saw T-Rex and they saw Franklin, right? And that was the thing that we struggled with the most in designing the new airport. What are we going to do with those 2 things? And if we take them away, how do we replace that sense of feeling and welcome for everyone? I don't know if we did it completely. You'll have to tell me some other time about that. But being a welcoming city is in our DNA, and it is because of, I think, how welcoming we've been to each other and how connected the neighborhoods are, so that we create those quick degrees of separation.
Jocelyn, 2 minutes to you. What Pittsburgh is not welcoming to newcomers?
I apologize in advance for any if I seem like I'm attacking you. That's my role. You say there's the Marge from Blahnox effect. I think it's for people like you, but not for people like me. The reason why is I moved here from New York. Marge from Blahnox actually work in New York. Like, I go to any random bar and I'm like, oh, do you know this person I work now? And I'm like, oh yeah, I also know these other 10 people that you probably know. That usually was true. When I moved here, do you know Marge from Blahnox? No, I have no idea where Blahnox is. I've never met a Marge in my life. So I would say it works for people who have roots in Pittsburgh, but if you are new to Pittsburgh, it is not welcoming at all. So that's one piece. The other piece is, when I first moved to Pittsburgh, I never felt so Asian. And I'll use this room as an example of, imagine I'm brand new to Pittsburgh and I walk into this room. Do I feel welcome? Everyone would be nice to me, but I didn't see a single other East Asian in this room. So how the hell do I feel welcome? And I say this as someone who's actually raised in Texas in a very small Asian population city. So those are 2 points that I think are incredibly important and point to the fact that Pittsburgh, yes, we can be nice, but nice is very different from welcoming. Welcoming means I feel belonging, I have connection, and those are actually incredibly hard to form in Pittsburgh. That's all I got.
1 minute to you.
Okay, Jocelyn, good points of all. But I think, I can't help but think of Mr. Rogers a little bit when he says look for the helpers. I think that if you come into an environment that is unfamiliar, you have a choice. Either you dig in or you allow that sense of distance to carry you. And, if you don't know Marge from Blahnox, you can go to a sporting event. You can go to a cultural event that is, many of which are still affordable. You can go to one of our many myriad new restaurants. There are lots of different ways to connect in Pittsburgh. This time was talking about sports and being the best, right? There's sports, there's culture, there's food, there's education, there's all kinds of the variety in the job market. So, there are many ways to connect, and I think it's incumbent on the newcomer too to come into a city like this that may feel closed at first with a growth mindset and to take it upon yourself to keep moving.
I agree it's two ways. But if that really were actually possible, why are people still leaving Pittsburgh? Like, if we truly were welcoming, people would want to put down roots in Pittsburgh, and the population probably would be declining a lot slower than it currently is. I was actually at Happenstance Cafe weeks ago, and I noticed the bulletin board on the side. There were so many flyers that were like, "Oh, let's like meet up," or like, "Here's the 20s group in Pittsburgh." I feel like at some point we'll see like dating ads because I feel like everyone's complaining about like dating. So I think this is actually very apt at dating. Of like, yeah, I think you can really try, but I think if the values don't align at the end of how we define welcoming, it's never really going to work. I'll also offer another example, which is I do only know we have almost 1,000 people. 50% of our people are new grads, significant number in Pittsburgh. One of the number one reasons we hear from new grads coming to Pittsburgh is they want to move to New York or San Francisco. If we were welcoming, they wouldn't want to.
30 seconds, closing remarks. Why Pittsburgh, in your case, is welcoming to newcomers?
I would argue that because we are welcomed and why so many of us boomerang back multiple times. And I'm coming from my entrepreneurial programming hat on too, and say that I think one of the reasons why people leave, at least in the cohort that I'm in, is because they can't get enough funding here in Pittsburgh, especially for early stage companies, and I think it's really something we have to work on a lot. But besides that, I do think Pittsburgh is extraordinary. I don't know if it's rivers or mountains or the steel history. What being welcome is part of our DNA, and everyone notices it right off the bat. Whether it's deep, true, that's another story. But right off the bat is a welcoming place, and I'll stand by that today and tomorrow.
All right, so I've mentioned I grew up in Texas. It was Austin. Then I moved to Dallas, then Chicago, then San Francisco, then Singapore, then New York, and then finally here in Pittsburgh. I have made friends in every single one of those cities that I still keep in touch with. I have made 3 friends here in 7 years. How is that welcoming? So I think there's a big difference between nice and welcoming, and the definition of welcoming is do you feel like you're friends? I feel like a person. So I think I do know it's possible to make friends. I remember the 3 friends.
Shake hands. Does anyone want to be Chocolate's friend? Chocolate, I think you got a lot of takers. Okay, we're about to do our lightning round. So we're moving now from our structured debate to a more participatory experience, especially for all of you in the audience, and our wonderful panelists here that did not make it into the first round. So these have been our topics so far. We want to know from the audience what else is important about Pittsburgh's brand. All about the phones. What else do you want to hear people speak to? What should be central to Pittsburgh's identity, to the way we talk about ourselves, the way other people talk about us?
All right, sorry, Alan. So I hear
You're gonna hold it stuck right here to your mouth here. It's there.
Okay, so I hear on the news a lot how Pittsburgh is one of the most affordable cities. I'd like to know, do you think that's actually true?
Not anymore.
Affordability. Anyone else? Don't be shy.
I would say not anymore. I moved here 12 years ago, and I would have said that. And now I feel like we're we're approaching big city prices, but not big city mentality.
Yeah.
So that feels a little confusing.
Big city mentality. Jeff, you already had to play.
But I can for topics, right? But I can give a talk.
Roll up.
All right, you got it now.
I wonder about how active our downtown is, because I think over the last 20 years it's become more active. But I had a friend come here from Philadelphia who mocked how boring and unpopulated the streets are in Pittsburgh, even on a Saturday.
I'm really impressed with the restraint from the PDP folks in the audience. Quiver and that one.
I think what else is important about Pittsburgh's brand has to do with its rich African American history. Like Raleigh Elegant values, and all of the civil rights leaders that we have in the city that have, paved the way for a lot of the diversity and inclusion that we do have. I think also that would encourage young Black men and women in particular to understand more about who they are and who we are, how far we've come, and how far we have to go.
Matt, we've got one here in the corner.
I think a lot of a brand for a city and for anything has to do with the personality and what you bring. And Pittsburgh has so much vibrancy and personality. It works. And we have to talk about any of that. So I think that's
Is there a chord you have in mind, other than love of the Steelers, obviously?
no, I think we should talk about it.
Okay. Over here.
So I became a marketer against my will. So I'm about to be annoying and say that I feel that, to kind of piggyback on your comment, I'm not sure that all of these categories or all of these debates, as much as I love and hoot and holler at all of them, are about brand. And right now I'm working at a nonprofit that's trying to attract population to Pittsburgh to help reverse population decline. And one of my jobs is to bottle up and make campaigns about Pittsburgh's brand. And it is really hard because we are not a marketing town. We are a town of authenticity and community. And as my friend Mary Marin says, hard work, innovation, creativity, and craft. I interviewed a young woman today who's 24. She is a neon artist in the North Side. Was funded through college by Pittsburgh Promise, learned neon from her grandfather, and makes like the most beautiful shit I've ever seen in my life. She is 24 years old. Her dream was to work on the Heinz Ketchup sign. She did it last year, and she referred to her job. I watched her bend like the most complicated tube of glass I've ever seen. She referred to her job as blue collar today, and something about her, talking to her and being in her studio for 2 hours and hearing her stories, like those are the types of stories and words and brands that I like want people to think about when they think about Pittsburgh. These things that we're discussing are definitely like policy and community issues that we absolutely have to work on. And we are, like all the people in this room, the people I know here, are working on them. Is it a brand? I don't know. And if you know what the brand is, something that would make a person pluck Pittsburgh off a grocery store shelf, please tell me so I can make a commercial about it. Thank you very much.
So I did pick Pittsburgh out of the hat. I've been here for just under 5 years. And one of the main things that brought me is something I never hear anyone speak about. The one way that people know where I'm from whenever I say Pittsburgh actually has to do with the symphony. One of the top 10 in the world, the only U.S. symphony invited to European festivals like Verbier and Salzburg. And we have other art too that's just astounding. But you know what? I was just the one with Beth Cromwell. There were 6 people in the audience. 6. Why? You know, it's cheap as ships to go. It's around 20 quid a ticket. It's very easy to walk around. There's plenty of things open. I mean, yeah, downtown could be busier, but I live down here, and you can walk out to a cultural event almost every single night. And whether it's a free thing that's through the PDP, or whether it's something else that is offered through one of the universities, or if it's something that's of one of the many things in the cultural district. But it's never mentioned. And I've never understood why that is, but it's how I found Pittsburgh, so.
And then we'll put our final contestants.
I would like to couple on communication and accessibility, and also about community and organizing. I've had the honor of working with anyone from the Wilkinsburg High School to Positive Spin through Bike Pittsburgh. I think a lot of issues that we're having are that we are an old automobile city. That is how we got our start. But there are more bike lanes and less parking spots available based on construction, based on development, based on no communication of teaching people what the bike lanes look like, what they mean, and the percentage of bike riders on it. But I think it's also really mortifying right now that we are a playground full of a lot of rules. We just celebrated a brand new Market Square. I talked about this last time. But at the end of the day, the fact that our children have nowhere to go and play to feel accepted, or for myself, feeling like I wasn't even invited to the NFL draft because this communication of accessibility was missed by all. I think that there's a lot that we can be doing to broaden how we are communicating with one another and be in more touch with making sure there's accessibility for all of us to grow and play together.
Of what we just heard, you get to decide what speaks to you. It has to be something the audience just said, so to run through them, and forgive me, this is shorthand. Downtown could be better. Also, someone else, downtown is great, and you should invest in it more. That we need more knowledge and more shared ownership of our African American history. We need to celebrate Black excellence. That Pittsburgh is considered one of the most affordable cities, but doesn't always live up to that, depending on where you are. Thank you. Appreciate that information there. The Pittsburgh's quirky, and we don't lean into that enough, and we should talk about that more. That we have a great blue-collar atmosphere, and as part of that, great art that comes along with it, but maybe we don't market that the way we should. And also a beautiful and expansive organizing history. And maybe there's more to that we can talk about more amongst ourselves and also in public as well. So we'll bring you up two at a time. First, Marlon Collingwood. Earl and Con are kind of negotiable at this point. And Gina Winston. No. Dealer's choice, Marlon. Which one speaks to you? What do you think should be part of Pittsburgh's brand? Okay. 1 minute to you.
Okay. Somebody talked about Philadelphia. I talk to kids and the families who come to Pittsburgh all the time, and they are like, "Oh my God, I can walk around downtown. Go to Philly, I'm going to die." Right? So we have a great downtown. Downtown. I moved back here 3 years ago after being born and raised here. I was driving through the Strip District on my way to my office at Point Park. I'm an old man, so I had on KDKA Morning News, and literally I heard, "Don't go downtown, you're going to die." Right? You'll be murdered downtown. And I thought to myself, I remember that same message in the 1980s. Don't go downtown. There are drug dealers. It's crack downtown. There are porno theaters. If you don't like downtowns, you're never going to like downtowns. Pittsburgh's downtown is part of who we are, and it's part of what we have to sell.
I should probably mention that Marlon Collingwood is the Vice President of Enrollment Management at Point Park University.
Pittsburgh's only downtown university.
Enrollment and growth at Pittsburgh's downtown college, yes. Gina, which one speaks to you?
Or what's gonna?
Can I take one too?
I was going to rebuttal you, but I'm on the board of the Downs now at the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership.
And I see your boss is here somewhere, right?
Jeremy, look away. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I won't tackle that one.
Okay, Gina's the Vice President of Culture and Community at the Carnegie Museums as well. Making Pittsburgh's museums more welcoming and equitable for all. Are you sure you want to talk about downtown? I think you might have something to say.
I think Oakland is fantastic. The one thing I wanted to say, and the north side, we have wonderful museums on those parts of town, and people forget about Oakland outside of the universities. So please, Oakland, that's all I want to say. I do want to talk about African American history with this investment.
You got it. 1 minute to go.
Okay. So I think that the heart of what our friend over here said about the disinvestment and the lack of interest or attention to African American arts and excellence is very, very true. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the very serious issue of segregation in Pittsburgh. I think that it used to be said that the most segregated hour in America was Sunday morning because our churches were very, very segregated. For me, that time has been Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And I think if you ask a lot of our Black and brown friends in the room today, they will agree with that sentiment and that fact that it is very, very segregated in Pittsburgh, in the workplace and in our neighborhoods. And I think that if we want to survive and be more competitive against other cities, we have to figure out a way to cross those lines and not to have a tale of two cities. The tale of two cities can be thought of as a socioeconomic difference, but it also is a Black and brown and a Black and white difference within the community. And it's coming deeper and deeper, and our realities are vastly different. Our experiences are not connecting to each other, and I think that that has to be an issue that is brought up not just people in the nonprofit space, but in our political offices, in our neighborhoods, in our community development organizations, at our museums, and in our cultural institutions. And I think that's something that we can tackle if we have a determination around it, because I look in this room today, and it is very, very diverse. And I think that more conversations like this need to happen in order for us to make our change into where people are thinking of Pittsburgh as a place that they want to stay in. They come, and they are Black, and they are brown, and they are making friends, even if they work at Tolingo and live wherever. So how do we do that? I think that's something that I want us to challenge ourselves to tackle in the city.
I'm not going to rebut that. I am going, right, I have that privilege, I'm sorry. I have had the privilege in the last year with Point Park working with 5 of the historically Black churches in the Hill District. Somebody needs to know that there are young people, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, and tell them about quality of life. Tell them that this is an affordable city. Tell them that they're welcome downtown, because they don't feel that, right? They don't feel like there's a place for them, and we're working hard to change that, but that is really important, right? This is the home of August Wilson, right? I mean, the history of the Hill, I mean, it's crazy. These kids know it. They have been told that by their elders, right? We need to talk about it more ourselves, because the reason that Pittsburgh exists and who we are is because of what's happened in the Hill District in particular and in those churches.
I was going to finish this by saying I think it's fantastic that he has visited historically Black churches in Pittsburgh. I think what also happens is a lot of white folks feel like they are not invited into what we would call Black spaces, and if you are, I think that there's a lot of hesitation that is internal and that is individual, and so I challenge everybody to sit with that discomfort and ask themselves why they're not showing up at things like the Fab 40 that the Pittsburgh Courier hosts every year, why they're not going to the August Wilson African American Culture Center, why they're not familiar with the Hill District CDC and these other fantastic arts and culture organizations, and get yourself out there, because you're not going to be disappointed. You're going to enjoy yourself.
Is there any one organization or system here in the city that you think could change, could be tweaked, a small adjustment that could make any of these problems that you're talking about better, or shine a light in a way that could positively affect Pittsburgh's brand?
That's a good question. It's something you asked the mayor, right? Maybe elected to Lewis that as the next mayor of Pittsburgh. No, I'm kidding. But I do think that there is an opportunity to look at how we invest in our smaller organizations and people who haven't had their voices traditionally heard. And what is the channel that we're giving people to have their voices heard where they don't right now? I myself work at Carnegie Museums, and I've created programs to reach out to Black and Brown and other diverse artists in the community. And so I think it's still just that individual choice, because you can have all the policies in place. If you're not taking advantage of it, or if the person doesn't know about access to that opportunity, then it doesn't make a difference. And so it's about making relationships and then sharing those opportunities individually.
Well, I'm offer to send to you. Is there anything you would like people to know about downtown? Something that could be changed that maybe our PDP or lovely PDP colleagues haven't tackled yet?
I will say this. I think that from my standpoint, again, I've been back there almost 3 years. We are a city. There are many cities our size and larger who've basically given up on their downtown, right? Their focus is now on the suburbs. It's on communities outside of downtown. Pittsburgh is focusing on and working hard through lots of public organizations, private organizations, universities, and it's not just Point Park. The big universities in Oakland are looking at how could downtown be a place where students might live, right? So I think it's really important that we should take great credit for, as a community, right, as a whole, of looking at downtown and understanding that downtown is not just downtown for Pittsburgh, it's downtown for the region, right? I mean, I talk to students all the time from Butler who were like, downtown Pittsburgh, right? I mean, it's a big deal to come into Pittsburgh. And we need to remember that. I think we have a civic duty to do that. But I'll say one other thing to something that you said. One of the things that I did notice in coming back to Pittsburgh after being away for 20 years, there are times when if you can't afford a membership to the Duquesne Club, you're not part of the people that are making decisions. And that is wrong, right? There are people in this room, and I say that as somebody who has worked with the Duquesne Club quite frequently, right? With donors and partners and that kind of thing. But the seats of power have shifted in our culture. And I think they are slowly shifting here, but I don't think they're shifting fast enough.
Microphone confusion, pardon me. To our final panelists, and you know who you are. Each one. Whatever speaks to you. You don't have to fight when you go last. Okay.
Check in.
Well, Andy Callan is the Chief of Staff for the Pittsburgh Foundation, where she helps translate the foundation's vision into community impact. What's your topic?
I'm going to do affordability.
Let's do it.
Are you all pro and con, or can I speak in nuance at this point?
Audience decides.
Do whatever you want. I don't know. It's free for all. All right. So I was thinking about affordability because my sister, Rosie, is moving back to Pittsburgh. She's boomeranging later this year, which I'm thrilled about, with my niece. But she said, can you help me look at some real estate? I said, sure, let me show you some neighborhoods. And she pulled up to them and said, I'm about to start crying because it's so cheap. Relative to Boston, where she's coming from. Their tiny, 2-3 bedroom house, about 30 minutes outside the city, is about $600,000. Okay? So the average home price here is somewhere around, last I looked, $240 in the Pittsburgh proper. Right? So housing is relatively affordable here. Parking is relatively affordable here. Right? So I had a friend come downtown just the other day and park and say, like, when did parking become $20? What are we, New York? Right? whereas in New York, it's going to be $100, right? And we know that's true. So in a lot of ways, Pittsburgh is extremely affordable, particularly if you have some needs, right? And we did address this partially during the quality of life discussion, right? So for a lot of people, and relative to other big cities, Pittsburgh is extremely affordable. I know that's part of why I stay here. My salary goes much farther here than it would in DC. I see a lot of people nodding their heads, right? If you're in a good school district here, we pay good taxes, but relatively low taxes for good schools. But if you're not in the top 70% of earners in Pittsburgh, you are priced out. There are two Pittsburghs. There is a tale of two Pittsburghs. About 30% of Pittsburghers right now live at or close to the poverty line. And the affordable Pittsburgh is not accessible to them. We know we have, roughly 1 in 5 folks in this city who is experiencing some form of hunger. It's the latest data. We know that we have a school system, we have educators here that we're working very hard on PPS, but we have a long way to go. There's great work being done there. And as you said so well, every kid deserves a quality education. And so there really is a tale of two Pittsburghs. We also see disparities along racial lines, right? And so, nuance there. I could argue for, I could argue against. Overall, we're pretty affordable if you have means. If you are operating close to the poverty line, this is not an affordable city for all, and that is something we need to work on, is making sure that every single person in this city can afford to live here. And last plug, we should increase the minimum wage in Pennsylvania. So we have really high underemployment because our minimum wage is so insanely low. Call your reps. That's it. Go Steelers.
How do you think the question of affordability and how we feel it within ourselves, but also present it to the world, how do you think that affects our brand?
Oh, I'm sorry, how we present.
We make all these lists, right?
Yeah.
People tell us we're so livable, we're so affordable. Is that a good thing?
I think it can be a good thing because we want more people to come here, but then I think we need to build the infrastructure to support that. Right, so we need to take a lot of the actions that were advanced here today to actually make it realistically affordable for people. So, investing in social services, investing in a higher minimum wage. So, I think it's good to market it as affordable, but also be real about the challenges that we face to try to address those.
There's a lot of power brokers in this room. Gauntlet dropped. No pressure. Andrea Roberts is the Senior Director of Education at Pressley Ridge, creating cultures of belonging in specialized schools here in Western Pennsylvania and beyond. Which of these topics that our audience brought to us, what spoke to you?
So I thought a little bit about the branding, and I don't know if there is one thing you can take off the shelf for branding, but I think about if we're going to be innovative, think about who's coming up to think, who's filling our shoes. I really think we need to think about our dreamers. The students who are dreaming, because dreaming isn't just a thought, it's about creating a new initiative. We talked about equality, and we think about, the people in this room, we may not all look alike, or we may not all speak the same language, but if we don't open ourselves up to start having some courageous conversations and start thinking and dreaming about the new initiatives that need to come, how we can create a world of education where education becomes fun for kids so they want to attend the arts. They want to be a part of where the next movement goes. If they want to dream big about being, the top executive, we need to be able to give them the opportunities to create the space for them to become the best dreamer, the best brand of what Pittsburgh has to offer. So that's how I look.
I think we're okay. How does everybody feel like they did? Participants? They're still sitting here, so I can keep on. I think the participants, just by virtue of being great sports, are winners in our book. Thank you so much to everyone who came. Please keep an eye out in your email. There's going to be a survey where you can give feedback to us about how we did and how Grapevine Design Collective can hopefully help talk about these conversations and evolve in the coming days and months, or maybe years. I know we're all organically having these conversations in our circles anyway. We're probably being a lot more blunt about it. I don't know if Pittsburgh's ever going to have a truly cohesive, defined brand or identity, but if we do, I'm betting a lot of the folks in this room are probably going to be a part of it. Please do stay in touch with each other. That was really the genesis of this, is to build connection. I'm hoping that some friends are made, some business cards are passed. Please enjoy the rooftop if you have not yet. No drinks are allowed here. But there's still lots of drinks down here. Please enjoy the food and beverage.